One of the most important messages we must give our children is they understand the history of the Jewish people, especially as it comes to Kiddush Hashem, how Jews have sanctified Hashem's name throughout the ages, throughout history. Those stories seep deep within the consciousness of the child to show, on the one hand, very often, beautiful, amazing stories of Hashem's protection and saving us. On the other hand, incredible stories of fortitude and strength and commitment of our fellow Jews. And these are actually two different sides to the same coin. On the one hand, Kiddush Hashem means when a Jew who is seen clearly as a Jew behaves in a proper way and in a way that is admired by others, that makes a Kiddush Hashem, a sanctification of Hashem's name. Similarly, when a Jew is in trouble and Hashem is there for him and comes to the rescue, so to speak, that makes a Kiddush Hashem. That makes a sanctification of Hashem's name. On the other hand, unfortunately, when that doesn't happen, you would think it's a Chilul Hashem, it's a desecration of Hashem's name. When October 7th happened, that's a desecration of Hashem's name. When the Holocaust happens, that's a desecration of Hashem's name, on the one hand. So let me share just a few little anecdotes of late that are sanctification of Hashem's name. One is a story I just read yesterday of a soldier up in Lebanon saying that when these rockets are falling, they have gone into a protected room, a bunker, protecting from the rockets that are falling down. But one of the projectiles that they sent created a fire, and this fire was getting closer to the soldiers, so they don't know what to do. Do they go out and get pounded by the rockets, or do they stay where they are and get affected by the fire? They call the fire department. The fire department comes, but they too have to go in to the protected house. All of a sudden, the skies become gray. It starts to rain for 10, 20 minutes. The fire's out, and they're protected. And one soldier, a very secular soldier, turns to the other and says, "Wow, look how Hashem protected us. He brought the rain just for the short period of time and got rid of the fire, so we can remain protected." A colleague of mine, not just a colleague, a classmate of mine, who I went through school together with him, sends a message to my class group of an amazing story that happened to him. He's had a problem with his vocal cords, problem speaking. His vocal cords have become inflamed, and the only solution seemed to be an operation. That's what the doctors tell him, they have to have an operation. Before the operation, he checked the mezuzahs on his home, and he realized that one mezuzah was upside down. So he turned it right side up, put it back onto his door, and lo and behold, the inflammation in his vocal cords have gone down to the extent that now the doctors say they don't need to operate. So these are stories of Kiddush Hashem. They sanctify Hashem's name. They sanctify His name through His mitzvahs and through His protection. On the other hand, we have incredible stories where Jews have been ready to give their life throughout history, and now too, for Hashem. What that means practically is when Jews were given the choice of converting out of Judaism or be killed, majority were ready to be killed. Now, the famous story I relate about the thief. When this thief used to steal, that's what his job was. One day he went for his big job and he stole from the church. He stole from the church. He was caught, and he was going to be taken to be killed. And he's given a choice: if you're going to convert, we will spare your life. And he said, "Yossel, yossel, a ganav I am, but I'll always remain." Here you have a Jew who seems to be so far from Judaism as to be a thief, doing that which Hashem tells us clearly not to do. Yet, when the moment of truth, he's ready to give his life, not to go against Hashem and His mitzvahs. So the way to put it is this way: there is the Kiddush Hashem, where Hashem is sanctified by His act, when He saves us, when He protects us, when He deals with us miraculously. That creates a Kiddush Hashem. But then there's the Kiddush Hashem of the Jew, the Kiddush Hashem of the fact that we are so committed to Hashem that regardless of what might happen, that it is the most important thing in our life, that we're ready to give our life, even if that's going to, we're ready to give our life for Hashem. So we're not going to convert to Islam or to Christianity, as stories throughout our history have represented. There's and this is very much true about the soldiers in the army. The soldiers in the army are doing the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, the highest order. When the Rambam speaks about soldiers going to war, he says you have to think of nothing, think of your success, and that what you're doing is to sanctify Hashem's name. When they are there to safeguard the Jewish people, to safeguard their brethren, their comrades in arms, they're doing an act of Kiddush Hashem at the highest level. At the highest level, they're sanctifying Hashem's name, and this time in a way that brings honor to the Jewish soldier and to the Jewish people. Just to share this incredible little story, there was a group of, I think it's 13 of Golani who went to Nir Am at on October 7th, and they fought against tens of terrorists. And then whilst they're there, a grenade is thrown at them, and there's a soldier called Matan Abergel. And what does he do? He jumps onto the grenade, and he saves all his comrades while he's killed himself. And as he's on the grenade, he cries out, "I've done everything to safeguard the Jewish people." Now, where does this regular fellow get this strength of character to do this? So his teacher related. He had a teacher named Dima Bolet, and this teacher says that he always told his class the story from the Second Lebanon War in 2006 of Roy Klein. Roy Klein was, I believe, a commander, and he was with his soldiers, and a grenade was thrown at them, and he pounced on it, screaming, "Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad." He took the brunt of the grenade, and all of the other soldiers were saved. And he, relating this story every year, he says he remembers how Matan actually soaked it into his bones. And that, in this parsha, we read about this mitzvah called Kiddush Hashem, sanctification of Hashem's name, are the two sides to the coin. One is when Hashem does miracles for us, and one is when we show our incredible commitment. The bottom line, however, the most important aspect of what my message is that these stories must be communicated with the next generation of Jews, with our children. We grew up with stories throughout our history of incredible, miraculous saving that Hashem has saved the Jewish people in different times. That creates a Kiddush Hashem, a sanctification of Hashem's name, but at the same time, the incredible strength of character of Jewish people, whether they were saved or not, very often, shows the greatness and the commitment of the Jew. It creates the branding that Hashem is the most important thing in a Jewish person's life. That Hashem's mitzvahs are very important, and sometimes they actually help us, like the story with the mezuzah that I just mentioned. So this is what we should and must communicate with our families and our children. This actually creates a very strong foundation for their commitment to Yiddishkeit when we share with them stories of sanctification of Hashem's name. Good Shabbos.